And here we go.
Hey everybody, my name is Mike from the Super Wheeler Bros, and we have a review for you today for John Wick Chapter 2. John Wick Chapter 2 stars Keanu Reeves as the titular character, once again, John Wick. And with this film and the predecessor, and as the titular character John Wick, Keanu Reeves once again gives us an amazing, awesome character to root for. John Wick he's not a one-note character, he actually has some emotion, but what's so great about John Wick is its simplistic nature. The narrative is so linear that you don't need all this other stuff going on. And what's great about John Wick 2 is that it really opens up this world, this underground mob world that they've created, starting with the first chapter in the story. Everything gets a little more illuminated. We get a little more background into this syndicate type organization that John Wick is a part of. And what really kicks our story off is that after an amazing prologue that has some great action and great hand-to-hand fisticuffs with Keanu Reeves against all of the remnants of the Russian mob outfit that he was working for at one time, with a great cameo by Peter Stormare. It's a great little nugget to get you right into the movie and into the action when he goes searching for his car. Pretty quickly, though, we jump right into what kicks our movie off, and that is that John has a marker that he initiated with our main bad guy, Ricardo Scamarcio, who plays Santino D'Antonio. And these oaths can't be taken lightly, and John denies it, and that leads to his house being blown up. And that then kicks off our movie. In order to satiate the contract, the blood oath, the marker that he has, he then has to go and execute Santino's sister. And this causes the conflict for the rest of the movie. A hit is put on John's head, and it leads to just sheer chaos, and it's great. What is the best, most amazing thing about John Wick is, again, being simplistic in its story, doesn't overcomplicate things, and it lends itself to really supporting the action in a wonderful way. John Wick Chapter 2 has amazing action sequences. It truly does. Let's talk about those. John Wick Chapter 2 has not one, not two, but 3 huge set pieces. You have the opening prologue, you have the catacombs, and then you have this Enter the Dragon homage where we've got all these mirrors around in the finale. There's so many great antagonists. If there's any detraction, is that the main bad guy was a little bit weak, I guess. His motivation, that's normal. It's just wanting more power. Makes sense. It's a pretty standard plot device. It's just that he's just not as interesting as some of the other supporting players. There's an amazing fight sequence twice with Common, who is a rival hitman who was really close to Santino's sister. And once John takes her out and the open contract gets out on John's head, we get some great head-to-head stuff. And I'm not going to spoil it, but there's definitely some really good hand-to-hand combat. There's great, fun gunplay. It's amazing that in a movie that is dead serious, it can be so aware of the ridiculousness of some of the things that they're executing, and it makes for a great movie. It makes for really interesting storytelling, and it makes for a good time, because the action sequences are phenomenal. Everything is shot in camera, everything is done where you can actually see what's going on, even though there is so much happening. The amazing choreography that they partake in is unreal, and Keanu Reeves, you can tell he's doing maybe 90% of his own stunts. I mean, he's in camera the whole time. That is what is so amazing about Keanu Reeves. He may not be the greatest actor in the world. In fact, I think we all know he's not the greatest actor in the world, but if you give him the right part, he's able to take physicality and presence and just make it his own. Neo, you've got his character in Speed and Point Break, and it's just an amazing, weird thing that Keanu Reeves is able to do, where he's able to just convey emotion and presence and things like that without really having to emote all that much. it's pretty amazing. This role is perfect for him, and his physicality and the way he throws himself into the physicality and into the role is awesome. And he's age-defying. It's just like Tom Cruise. They're very similar in the way that they execute things, and you can only appreciate just how much he gives to this role. Common, as one of his rival hitmen, is awesome. Ruby Rose is in there as well. She's a mute. She can't speak, and she is a really interesting character as well. She wasn't all that imposing, but then again, you know, most of people against John Wick aren't really all that imposing. Common was a kind of exception, but it's amazing how they got to play off of each other, and I loved Ian McShane returning as the hotel manager. The syndicate kind of ran things. We get a little bit more insight into what his role in the whole proceedings are, and like I said, it just opens things up quite a bit, and it does end on kind of a quasi cliffhanger, you know, which leads us into a third chapter, but it's like The Dark Knight. You know, it's got a satisfying conclusion, but it also keeps things open in case we get another John Wick. And the way that everything's been performing and the critical reception, I believe we will definitely get a third chapter in John Wick. It wasn't perfect, but it's about as perfect as you can get without being perfect. One of the best action movies in a long time, and a fantastic addition to this canon. It's an awesome all-around action movie, and you can't really ask for more in a sequel. In fact, most times you can't surpass what you've done before, especially one that took you with as big a surprise as the original John Wick did, but this one actually improved on its predecessor and made itself even better. And I can't tell you how happy I was leaving the theater. I was excited for this movie, I anticipated it greatly, and it met every one of my expectations and exceeded them. If I'm going to score John Wick Chapter 2, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Just missed on that perfect score. Tell us what you think of John Wick Chapter 2 if you have already seen it in the comments below. And if you like this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Definitely helps us out. And if you want to see more great content, more great reviews, definitely hit that subscribe button. We've got more coming to you in the near future. My name is Mike from the Super Wheeler Bros, and as always, my friends, have yourselves a super week.